Hello Cancer, and welcome to your monthly forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. Great to see everybody. Just a quick reminder before we get started, you can always use these readings for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. Let's move into channeled messages. The first message today was that of a hermit crab. So as I was meditating, I saw a hermit crab that had outgrown its shell and it was looking for a new one. Of course, the hermit itself is connected to that symbology, but coming out of the shell and allowing yourself to grow, this is the big metaphor. Some of you may be in either a living situation, a relationship, a job, something at school that you're involved in, where it's just sort of like served its higher purpose. And in order to expand, to grow, to experience new things, you have to release that and find something that is a fit. It's also the universe coming through to remind you that you deserve to have that perfect fit. And there may have been a period of time in your life where there was compromise and putting up with more than you needed to. And what I see right now is that it's time to, at the very least, explore the options so that you know, is this really the best that there is, or is there something that is a better connection, a better fit, a better match for you? As I said, we're going to go through the bullets here. This could be a subtle and gentle growth that's been happening beneath the surface. The universe is giving you a little nudge to come out of your shell. This could be as simple as getting involved with a new activity, hanging out with somebody new. It could also signify a more significant shift, a house, a job, or a relationship change. And it's just maybe for some of you the desire to want to meet new people. Maybe there has been a sense of isolation or loneliness because you've been working on personal development, maybe you've been going to school, maybe there's been something that's been all-consuming. The hermit eventually comes out of this phase. And so for many of you, I see that you've gained the wisdom of the hermit and it's time to get out and be the star. He's holding the star in the lantern. This is your moment to shine, okay? Take it a step at a time. It took you a while to maybe get into that phase. Give it one step at a time. And if you've just gone through the expansion, this of course is a validation for you. Big changes, big movement. And this next card helps you on that. What the universe whispered to me as I was meditating was that this was going to be a month of firsts. And I was shown a portal and just kind of like the universe beckoning you. Are you ready to take the step? As I said before, it can be something like a first job, maybe a first relationship. Maybe it's your first time traveling or moving outside of the place that you grew up. It could also just be this inner desire to explore because this is the vagabond card, the traveler. So maybe you're embracing new things that you've never tried, whether it's food or culture, or you just want to kind of figure out what else is there in the world or creatively or energetically. So don't retread old ground. That's the one thing that came through really, really loud and clear. And if we combine these two cards together, that's really what it is. Letting go of this need to kind of focus on the past or be focusing so much inward and really just look more outward at what the universe has to offer up to you. The final message in meditation that came through was that of being able to basically let things go energetically and also connect with a new flow of energy. So what Spirit showed me was a waterfall. And the waterfall represents a difference and a distance between 2 points. It's also, by allowing yourself to move from point A to point B, there is energy. So there's energy in change, there's energy in movement. And if you can see yourself, wherever you might be in that process as being between it, you could be receiving inspiration, intuition, new ideas. And if you go with the flow of energy, some really cool things could happen. So that's one way to interpret this. It's a chance to get in better control and also in better touch with your emotions. That's why I featured this beautiful King of Cups card. He's kind of rising above the water, rising above the energy, and he's in control of it rather than being beholden to it. It's a chance also to, of course, just connect with the energy of water in your life. As simple as increasing, your hydration if you're feeling dehydrated. It could also be about taking a bath, an Epsom salt bath, so that you can release things in that sort of meditation. By the way, it's a great way for those of you that are holding on to an old relationship, have been dealing with a lot of stress. You can get Epsom salts at almost any drugstore or convenience store, and they're inexpensive. So basically, put that in the bath water, light a candle, meditate, and just allow the water to basically pull that out. Whatever it is that you've been holding on to, let it go. And as I was talking, I also felt like a throat activation. So for some of you, it could even just be words that others have said or words that you want to say. Just let everything kind of melt and let it go. Swimming is also a great energy to allow you to move through something. Nice symbol, but also just great exercise as well. Finally, allowing yourself to be receptive, able to receive love, abundance, and opportunity in the highest form, and basically to be right there at that place of energetic flow. That's what this is all about. So a portal of opportunity, a first step, and then allowing yourself to receive the energy of change, if I had to summarize it in 3 simple points. Let's go ahead now, shuffle the cards, and see what additional messages Spirit wants to bring through. Again, just a quick reminder, this can always be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. We'll actually go into greater depth into all 3 towards the end, so I hope you stick around. And again, we're looking at May 2024. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what some of you are going through, how this month has been sort of affecting you. I always like to hear what's going on. And then as we go through the reading, let me know what resonates with you as well. I love this first message here in the Catalyst so far, just focusing on the energy of trust. Two powerful cards coming through in wealth here. How great is it when we get validation here with the Hermit? So we'll talk more about this. It really is about coming out of your shell. Let's see, we got one more card here. All right, let's take a look at your Catalyst energy. Catalyst, of course, helps you spark change, create action, and get organized. And this is one of the ultimate cards of organization here. Trust in the universe. We see here a galaxy that's being formed. Things are messy in the beginning. Creation and creativity is an iterative process. That's what this reminds us. When our solar system began, it was a mass of dust, gas, and just a bunch of elements floating out there. Eventually, the sun coalesced at the center because of gravity, and then it created that center anchor that allowed everything else to start spinning around it. Some star systems have 2 or 3 stars, but you still need glue at the center and a conducting, and when I say conducting, I mean kind of like a conductor, an organizing force. You're the conductor this month. You're the boss. And this is also reminding you to take it easy on yourself when it comes to the iterative process of beginning something new. It's messy at first, maybe a little disorganized, but it gets better step by step, day by day, and sooner or later that vision comes into clarity. And give yourself time, give yourself space. And even if we just look at this planet, life took a long time in lots of different forms before we stepped on the planet. There were dinosaurs, there were big insects, there were, periods of time where there were just trilobites and things in the sea. It took time for things to get where they're at. So give yourself the same freedom when you're beginning a new project, a new phase in your life. Obviously, it's not going to be in epics and billions of years, but give yourself a day, a month, a year to really see something to fruition, especially if it's a big plan that's going to set into motion a bunch of things. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay for things to take time. Creation and creativity is an iterative process. I had to repeat it a few times because it's powerful, and I wish people had kind of said that to me when I was younger, or even now sometimes, because I sometimes want things to be absolutely perfect. Release the need to be perfect. Just keep moving, okay? As I look at all of your cards here, we definitely see the expansive energy here. We see a boss card here. We have guidance from the angelic realm here. Some really good stuff overall. I just want to take it one card at a time. Let's begin with your centermost card, the 9 of Wands. All right. So many of you have been through a difficult moment or two. This card comes on the heels sometimes of, it could just be a moment in time where you thought, wow, that took a lot of time, a lot of energy, but you did it. And what I love with the Nine of Wands is it is a card of survival. And sometimes it's a card of showing people just how strong you are. And that's why this card actually features a helper word at the top, strength. So even though this isn't the strength card, it takes strength to get to this particular energy that we see here. Oftentimes on the Nine of Wands, you'll see someone that has a bandage on their forehead, or just some sort of signs of being through the difficult time, okay? So if you're in the throes of something difficult, this card represents the strength and the wherewithal to survive it. If you've just been through it, celebrate the fact that you made it. And if you're feeling a little bit uninspired or starting to doubt yourself, this card comes through as reassurance from your highest self, from your guides, that you'll get there, you'll finish, it's going to be all right. But what you want to focus on right now, because this card does connect with the seventh chakra, the head, there could be sometimes just your own thoughts getting in the way, a mental block, thinking, again, I'm not going to be able to do this, or have I been wasting my time, or did I make the right decision? Just take a deep breath with me, let the thoughts go. All they are right now are noise, and they're taking you this way, that way. It's not necessary. So breathe, meditate. For those of you that want to do that Epsom salt bath, whatever, just do something to let go of the thoughts. There could also be, for some of you, migraine, TMJ, there could be upper neck pain, something here that's basically the stress is just finding a place to manifest. So try to find another way to let it out. Talk. I mentioned that throat activation when I was doing channel messages, and we were looking at the flow of energy, the water. Talking this through could really help you as well. Let's segue now and take a look at what's going on in the crossing position here. We have the Moon card. This does represent the ability for you to be strong and creative, and it is of course a card of intuition. If we look at the traditional card though, it does represent some opportunities here. The first is to avoid competition and gossip. Because the moon can sometimes be a distraction, someone that's on the sideline trying to get your attention, and there is a path in the center that's leading towards enlightenment, leading towards a better sort of tomorrow. So the lobster can be fear or uncertainty. This can be conditioning versus instinct. It can also be competition, and all of this constitutes distraction. So you want to stay focused here. In this card, they basically just showed all of that with the water, and sometimes things just start to well up. So finding a way to rise above that, like the Piscean fish did here in this card, could be really, really beneficial. And then again, there is always a challenge between instinct and sort of training. You've been told to do something, but your instinct is telling you something else. This is a time when you want to trust the instinct, okay? And be honest, because integrity is everything, and I have a feeling like I get that sort of sense of talking or gossip, word gets around. So if you don't want something to get back to someone, you probably shouldn't be saying it. If you don't feel right about doing something because you're worried about feelings, don't do it. Trust the instinct, and we can kind of leave that at that point there. Let's look at your deep past here. We have the Four of Swords. Some of you are overdue for a rest or a break. Some of you are taking a necessary reprieve. And we actually saw that in one of the expanded cards, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But ultimately, this is saying there's so much that can come from just getting ample sleep, the practice of meditation on a daily basis. 5 minutes. 5 minutes can change your world every day. And it can be in the shower, in the bath. If you are a busy person, you have to take a shower. Here's a couple of examples of meditating, in that sort of space when you don't have a lot of time. When you're shampooing your hair, you can imagine that you're shampooing out the sort of negative thoughts or the problems or the people, the words that kind of got stuck in there, and see the water that's coming down kind of like this beautiful, just this ray of sunshine, and it's going to get rid of all of this stuff. And as things go in the drain, they're going to go back to source. And you're basically, it's like sending a letter back to source, like, return to sender, I don't need this, I'm ready to clear my energy. So even if you're busy and take a 3 to 5 minute shower, you can meditate in the shower. A bath even better, because you can really let things kind of, like I said, an Epsom salt bath, you can let them get out of your body and out of your mind. But however you want to do it, walking the dog, you can just work on your breathing and focus on positive affirmative thoughts. There's different ways that you can space it in. I work a lot and I'm busy, and I do some of these techniques myself. So find time, make time, 3 to 5 minutes. If you want to do that as sort of a challenge this month, I like that word better than homework. If you want to take the meditation challenge, that's it. Meditate in the shower or the bath and focus on releasing things that you don't need. And then when you walk to lunch or walk the dog or walk to your car, imagine that you're breathing in possibilities and you're going to set in some sort of a mantra for this day, this week, this month. So try it out. If you could do it for at least 3 to 5 days, I feel like some magic could happen. So give it a shot, see what works, and create something that feels right for you. This is a reminder that this too shall pass. The Four of Swords is a card of putting things to peace or rest, in this case, a truce. Some of you may decide to walk away from a person, place, or thing and just let it go. It's not the same as ghosting. It's really what happens here is you've made a decision in your life that it's just time to move in a different direction, and there's peace with that, okay? So let's look at what's coming through in the recent past. Good for you. The Ten of Pentacles, even when reversed, shows that you're starting to open yourself up to expansion of resources, and maybe even meeting some new people. As we can see on this card, love, marriage, and long-term relationships can be connected to the Ten of Pentacles, and it's something that has the ability to last. Some of you are not willing to settle for less than this, and I can get behind that too. I think if it's worth doing, you really want to make sure that both of you are on the same page. Some of you are still focusing a little bit on getting grounded. Otherwise, this card would be in the upright position. So take the time that you need to feel like you're completely ready to take on something new, a new job, a new relationship, or again, some sort of a new opportunity. What can this mean for you? For some of you, what we see here is that tug that's coming from colleagues, friends, and family, and it usually comes with a string attached in the case of the Ten of Pentacles. So there's someone that they need or want something from you. It could be conditional love. It could be a favor that someone's trying to get. It could also just be pressure to perform or achieve. This comes a lot of times from our peers, from our bosses, and also from our parents. Just do you is really what this card is saying. And then know that the people that love and respect and truly are there for you will see that and always be there for you. If they require something to be picture perfect, or again, that you have to fit into some sort of a box for them, this is a clear indication that that's not the best connection, okay? And I know sometimes that's not easy to deal with, but it is better. It's going to make room for someone who does have unconditional love and appreciation. In the crowning position, we have the Ten of Swords, but because of where it's at here, this is more of a mental thing that's coming through. Some of you might just be building something up to be bigger than it needs to be, and you are afraid of either a worst case scenario that's highly unlikely, or perhaps you're just worried that you won't be able to meet all of the expectations that people are kind of piling on top of you. So this is a tall order, and this is you thinking, I can't do it. You, first of all, have the capacity, the strength, and the wherewithal to surprise yourself and others. But you don't have to do something that you don't want to do. So if it feels overwhelming, just push back. That's one thing. The other thing is, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. It's very normal, maybe even a little healthy, to have some nerves when there's something that you want to do well, because it shows that you're invested, right? When you stop having the nerves, then it's almost like the thrill is gone and you're too comfortable in something. When the nerves get to the point that they're inhibiting movement, that's when you want to pay attention. So if it's fear of failure, let me put it this way: if you don't try, then it doesn't happen. And so the only way to kind of really be sure that the Ten of Swords doesn't happen is to give it a shot. You'll probably meet somewhere in the middle. Remember what I said earlier, creation is an iterative process. So you can get halfway or 75% of the way there, take a step back, change a little bit here, do a little bit here. It just doesn't have to all be perfect on day one. I mean, when you go to school, no one expects you, let's say you're learning a foreign language, you're not going to be fluent on the first day. If it's brand new and you've had no exposure, what do you start with? Usually numbers in the alphabet, because everything's going to be on top of that, built on top of that. Then you do words, then you do sentences, then you do paragraphs, then you put it all together. Like, so the same sort of approach here as learning how to read or write. You've got to start with the basics, and you're going to build yourself into something amazing, okay? So not so much pressure out of the gate. That's one thing. Now we can start to look at the traditional sort of pieces of the Ten of Swords, which can sometimes be, for some of you, just came through an argument. Someone said something, or possibly not an argument, but someone insulted you or put something out there where it kind of chiseled away at your self-esteem, is the best way that I can put this. So if someone was cruel, they were not constructive, you want to kind of take it with a bag of sand, not just a grain of sand. That says more about the person than it says about you. But it does require healing. And give yourself the time that you need. Make sure you're getting the rest that you need. If you need to talk to someone, talk to someone. And time does heal, but the amount of time, different for each of us, okay? Finally, we can take it at face value in the most traditional sense of this, which is oftentimes chronic pain or fatigue. Some of you might have a flare-up. It feels like this could be related to stress or, again, a difficult life situation that's going on around you. So you really want to give yourself time and space to heal. That's the most important thing here this month. If you need a vacation, if you need to take a sick day, if you need to talk to someone, make sure that the body is where it needs to be. And especially when it comes to emotional and mental health, whatever you need to do to really get that on solid ground, that's priority number one. The good news this month is that it's all headed in the right direction. We do have the World card coming through, which is major expansion, major movement, usually for the best. However, the card is reversed. So what's going on right now is basically the universe, in the best of ways, because this could have come through as the Tower, but it didn't. It's coming through saying change is now. So for some of you, maybe you put your house on the market, you didn't expect it to sell, and suddenly an offer comes through, and the reality is now is the time to move forward if you're ready. You might have thrown out some job applications just to test the waters, and all of a sudden one came through, but it might require a move. Or maybe if you're a student, you just got through graduation and it's like, wow, I'm in the real world now. Now what do I do? There's this sense of newness, possibility, and then a little bit of being overwhelmed and possibly even not prepared for the timing of it. It's faster than you think. It's bigger than you think. Maybe it's better than you think. Open yourself up to receive this type of an upgrade. And don't get in your headspace too much. That math meme that I showed where you're thinking about all that stuff. Let's really try to avoid overthinking and maybe not taking an opportunity because you're afraid of failing or not achieving. You're more ready than you might think, okay? Some of you also don't want to limit capacity or potential here because this is boxing things in based on past experiences or what has currently been done. And innovation is basically people who aren't happy with the status quo. They're like, well, I want this to be better. What if we try this? Or why can't this be smaller or bigger when, you know, you're inventing some machinery or computing device or whatever? It's sort of like, let's push the limits. And it's those the kind of rebellious and inventive types that we owe our comfort to, because all of the modern day, you know, things that we don't even think about anymore, it's because someone said, that's not good enough, let's try this, or let's make something smaller now and give ourselves a chance to put the computer here, not just here. So there's so many different things that we take for granted. So give yourself a chance to think bigger and maybe ask the difficult questions, because there's some good development coming through. But again, this is upgrades, movements, changes, and all the things that I was picking up in the channeled messages: relationship, job, place of where you're living, you know, place of employment, all of that. Okay? Let's take a look at you to see how you're going to be dealing with all of this. For some of you, I feel like you're focusing on something that is not worth your time and energy. So this is sweating the small stuff, the Five of Wands in reverse, and realizing it's not worth it. In a management position or situation, this would be someone that has hired several people to do work, but micromanages and then redoes their work, or spends all their time worrying about this and then doesn't do their job of looking at, sort of operational needs and organizational needs, and then things kind of get chaotic. So one thing that you can do is delegate. The other thing you can do is make sure that you're not working on something that's distracting you from the big picture. So whether you are literally in that management role or it's just figuratively speaking, like manage your time, energy, and just overall trajectory in a different way so you can see that big picture. Hopefully that helps. We talked a little bit when we were looking at the moon card. Let's just look at these in the upright position, about avoiding competition. And with the Five of Wands, there typically is competition. Here we're just looking at two people, so it might be, two people vying for attention. A lot of times what happens with this is people are speaking up, acting up, or just trying to get attention from someone who, again, they're focusing on the wrong things. This isn't worth your time this month. So what you want to do is go to the next card in this suit, which is the Six of Wands, which is leadership. So set a good example, separate yourself from those sort of energies that encourage competition in that way. Unhealthy competition, not like trying to be your best, but where nothing's good enough. We want to avoid that. And basically continue to be the innovative, questioning, curious type, because that's going to get you to the next level. You might also just be sick and tired of something. This is a job that is just clock in, clock out, get paid, and move on, and it feels like you're ready for something more. Let's look at the environment to see what's knocking when it comes to opportunity. We do have something better here. The Page of Wands. The Page of Wands in the reverse state. And in this particular card, she's reaching for the stars. She's using her magic wand to create something as well. So pages are both communicators, but also receivers. So when the Page of Wands is reversed, it's saying, open up your mind, which we've talked about, listen, and get inspired. If you feel stuck, it's completely normal. There's hardly a person in my life that at one point hasn't felt stuck in a job or relationship or something. I've felt varying degrees of stagnation and different things. And then when that happens, I think to myself, first of all, I'm glad I know where I don't want to be. How can I get where I want to be? And if I don't know where I want to be, I think to myself, what's out there? That's where, if we go back to just for a moment, the Fool energy, when I was talking about a month of firsts, this is a time to just explore and expose yourself to new things. So rather than continuing to retread old ground and feeling like this, same old, step out, watch a movie, read a book, listen to a podcast, talk to a mentor, ask a friend, whatever you need to do to expand and explore, which is also the energy of this, because these are the two bookends. The Fool is at the beginning, the world is at the end. Get into that energy of first, because it's only going to benefit you at the end of things here, okay? It may take a couple of attempts to get someone to see or understand things from your perspective. So the Page of Wands in reverse understands that sometimes telling isn't the best way. Show what you're trying to do. Possibly there's a real life example. Maybe you can use a visual sort of presentation. Using other ways besides just text and speech is going to be really, really critical here. And also just walking the walk, not just talking the talk. So lead by example. All right, that's the main message there. Let's look at hopes, fears, and opportunities. We have angelic assistance. Temperance is one of the, it's a big angel, which is good. So you are being guided. Some of you need to hear that and have that sense of reassurance. Spirit has your back. Spirit is here, but it's speaking in a whisper. It's subtle. It's not going to be a big billboard blinking and showing you what you need to do. It's the instinct that you have, because we have the instinctive card here at the center. Whether you just feel it on a gut level, on a soul level, I want to do this or I don't want to do this, that's what you want to be focusing on. Temperance is about balancing things out. We can see the angel here taking 2 cups, finding that perfect balance, that perfect mix for you. 1 foot on land, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot at a time, 1 step at a time. We also see maybe the difference between morning and midday here. Things starting to brighten up, starting to clear. So this is a month where it is coming together. It is starting to coalesce, but it does take a day at a time, a step at a time, and it's going to be about your patience. In this particular deck, It's a combination of the Rider-Waite-Smith traditional deck as well as the Thoth deck. So we have art, creative energy coming through. And it's also reminding you that creation itself is an art, it's a dance. And so just take it in that same sort of vein and realize that art is subjective, it's creative, it's one step at a time, it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes when things aren't perfect, that's actually when they're more interesting. The outcome this month is a change in direction. Chariot in reverse, to me, almost reminds me of someone at the center of a car kind of moving the wheel around so that they can do a 180. Some of you are doing just that. You're deciding to go in a different direction. Some of you, for the first time in a long time, or ever, since this is a month of firsts, you're taking the reins and saying, I want to lead. I want to do it. This is how we're going to do it. And finding your voice in a way that you have never found it before is going to be key. Maybe you've been really good at, communicating in love, but maybe not in work, or when you're talking to a doctor or whatever. You're finding your voice in some avenue of your life that you haven't before, and you're saying, I want to do it this way. I'm really behind you on that because that's putting you in a position of power, and this is giving you the conductor energy that I was talking about here. Trust in yourself, trust in the voice, and it's okay to change your mind or change your direction. The Chariot is saying you've got to believe in where you're going, and you have to know where you're going to. So for some of you, it's just a decision. What do I want to do next? This is a perfect place to expand it further to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start off with health. This is your mind, your body, and your spirit. The oracle card for health is fertility. It's very interesting the way they showed the illustration here. The card, by the way, was reversed, but let's just look at it upright for a moment. The focus is not on the solar plexus or the root chakra. It's actually on the heart. And loving yourself and conceiving or creating with love is important here. So we can take it way out of the energy of just birthing a child. For some of us, this is about creating or embarking upon something new in our life. And we have to have that sense of love, acceptance, and passion for it to really work, and compassion as well. So that's one thing. Whether I can take this out in a very broad sort of sense for those of you that aren't looking at starting a family, and it's just about birthing, creating, or embarking upon something and opening your heart. So that's the first message, universal for all of you. Specifically for those that are looking to conceive, I can see the challenges that some of you might be having. It is reminding you of the importance of emotional strength, stability, and also kind of like opening up the heart. When the heart is open, it's a lot easier for the body to receive, and it helps with fertility. But, I'm not a doctor, I'm just looking at the energy, but there are sometimes, energetic blocks that can help or accelerate things. So one of them could be in meditating and stress relief for those that are trying to conceive. And this also just shows that patience, because we have the temperance angel, is going to be really important. I do see a breakthrough energy with the world here. The world is in reverse. So when it happens quicker than you think. And it happens on the heels of thinking it isn't going to happen. So part of this is just about letting go of the need to control this, because this particular aspect of life is difficult, even with medical advances to control. So letting go and saying if it's meant to be, it'll be, and I'm going to let go of this feeling of attachment to it. Sometimes that's all you need for it to happen. And this is true of manifesting a job, a relationship, and also sometimes conceiving a child. So there is this sense of just doing all you can do and then letting go of this pressure on yourself, okay? I think we can all universally get behind that. There could just be an unexpected birth for some of you. You may have thought, I'm done with that phase of my life, and the universe gave you a surprise. So be mindful of fertility. And, if you don't want to have a baby, be careful there. But for the rest of us, it's saying you're more powerful in your manifesting abilities than you think. This fear of failure or this need to control sometimes can get in the way of things just showing up. When you let go, it happens faster, okay? It's a very nuanced sort of thing, and it's touching across all categories. But something as big as fertility or abundance is going to do just that. A change, though. We're seeing a change, and it's typically a change for the better. There's one last thing that we need to talk about, and then I'll go into just general body messages. Some of you are being pressured by others to do something that doesn't feel right to you. It's not necessarily just having a family or starting a family, but for some of you it could be. There could be family asking you, when are you going to get married? When am I going to have a grandchild? And when that kind of nonsense comes up, you could just say, I don't know, when am I going to get a unicorn? Or you don't need me to have a baby. You can go adopt one if you want another one. So just push it right back at whoever's asking you. And, you know, just know that it's more a projection and a codependency and a sort of anxiety on their part than yours. So don't let that get into your headspace. And that's the main thing here. You have agency. You have control. It's your body. It's your life. It's your decision on how you want to proceed. Whether you want to get married, have a child or not, your life. All right, now let's take a look at the cards here. I mentioned earlier, some of you might be having headaches, tension around the jaw or neck. Take care of that. It looks like it's stress related. There could be some acute or recurring pain. Usually this has to do with the back when I'm looking at it for health. So you may be overdue for a checkup, for a chiropractic adjustment, for a massage. It could be something more. Take care of it. But typically these two cards together, 9 of Wands and 10 of Swords, have to do with stress management. This is a fertility card here, the Moon card. So again, for some of you, we're just getting a lot of validation around family and birthing and creating. And it can be either literal or figurative. Sleep, quality and quantity, definitely coming through for many of you. So make sure that you're getting both. And if either is lacking, this is really a time to talk to a professional, make sure that you sort out what might be causing it. A move for the better. The World card is typically a very good thing. Selling a house, upgrading for some of you. And it could also be the first time moving out and having your own place or going from an apartment to a home. It's some sort of an upgrade or an unknown experience. And otherwise, it's pretty darn good, I have to say. The rest of the cards are manageable. Just finding some balance in your life. This is usually like emotional balance, finding things that create joy and feeling like, you know, you're at peace with things, because both of these cards are showing a little bit of that. Okay. And so there you go. Those are the major things here. I would say at the end of the day, the ability to speak and feel like you're more in control of things. That's one thing that I'm looking at here, is that you're driving the car when it comes to health, well-being, and happiness with respect to all of that. Let's move on to wealth. This is your resources, your life purpose, and your career. And you got 2 cards that came through in this area. We have the Hermit reverse, which is just perfectly aligned to what I talked about earlier, coming out of your shell. And then we have a card that kind of amplifies this a bit. It's basically saying drop some of those protective shields. Let's begin with the Hermit message first. If we look at the basically smaller caption on this one, it says retreat and recharge. So we can actually connect that with the 4 of Swords, which is about rest. Some of you are overdue for some sort of a rest or relaxation in your life. And this card is saying, if you keep operating without recharging, eventually, kind of like a computer, the body just stops. It'll melt down. It could be something where it's an emotional meltdown, or it could be physical. This can be like a cold or a flu or something else, and we don't want that. So take a break, take a vacation. It's not really an option. It's more the universe saying it's time to rest. In that moment of rest, you're going to be able to receive insight, intuition, inspiration. You could also get a moment of clarity where you decide, I don't want to do this, or I really want to do that. So give yourself time to rest and meditate. Now, if we just read this as a traditional Hermit card, kind of like I was talking about at the very beginning, I can bring that up for a comparison. What we want to focus on in this moment is basically allowing ourselves to get out of old habits and to basically put ourselves into new things so that we can grow, so that we can explore. And just like this Hermit here, there might be something in your life that you've outgrown. And like the very next card, it's about embracing all the firsts that maybe you haven't allowed yourself to experience in a while. So changing up that routine is important, and getting out and meeting new people. That's definitely what a Hermit reverse would be. This nicely sets you up for the protection guardian here, who's basically saying it is safe to drop your shields. So there's that old Sting song about building a fortress around your heart, right? I feel like some of you might have done that, possibly because you're on the heels of a breakup or a disappointment of some sort, and you think to yourself, you know, I don't ever want to be hurt again. I'm going to just say no to everything. I'm going to retreat, and by doing that, I'm safe. The universe is saying, not so fast. That was one person, one situation. It is not indicative of the future for you. So this is saying know when to keep the shield up, know when to let some people in, because life is about opening up that heart and experiencing new things. Don't cut yourself off from something just because one person said or did something wrong. It's not universally going to happen in the future. And that's the main takeaway for this. All right, let's go ahead now and look at this on a deeper level for those of you in a job, looking for a job, and either retired or a student. All right, for those of you that are currently employed, let's take a look at wealth. The burnout is real for some of you. The Ten of Swords can just simply be that you've done way too much. You know, there's been a lot of pressure. So obviously speaking up, pushing back, and taking some more control. For those of you that have the capacity to do that, that's what I'm seeing there for sure. Some of you, there was a final straw and you've just decided it's time. And if you're ready to look out there, it might take a little bit, it might take a moment or two, but I do see one opportunity that's worth exploring. Probably is going to require a change of location. Though the universe is typically geographically different. So that's what I'm picking up on for that. Even though we're not looking at those who are seeking work, it's still coming through for some of you that are just burned out. For some of you, I'm getting this is almost like an existential moment where you're thinking, isn't there something more? Of course, the answer is yes. We have the universe or the world card here. And we have another card here that looks just, it is the universe, right? So it's saying, trust in this intuition that there is something more. What do you have to do to make it happen? You may have to really lead the charge here. And for many of you, patience is key and leadership is key. And, you know, stepping and rising above some of the competition and things of that nature are going to be also important. To be able to get someone in the, like, again, if you're working to get a boss to agree, you're going to have to show why it's going to be mutually beneficial. The key thing here is it's probably expanding both of your horizons and experiences. So speak to that mutual expansion. There could be a transfer opportunity for some of you as well if you want to stay. But it has to be about growing. If you're not going to grow where you're at, it's time to go. These two tens are at odds. And so 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Swords. If you keep putting the work in, but it's just burnout, something has to change. So that's the challenge is, are you ready and willing to step up to the plate to lead the charge there? Or do you want to kind of do something on your own? Because by the way, the Chariot is a very good card for self-management and entrepreneurial energy. I get questions all the time about entrepreneurial opportunities. So yes, don't be afraid of failure. Just do your research, get everything set up, and make sure that you have a safety net. That's the main thing when it comes to that. Okay. Something about expanding is key, or moving if you're going to stay. So think bigger, look at geographical places that you might be able to move or distribute things bigger or in a different space. Let's reset all of this and take a look at those of you that are looking for a job at this moment. As I just said, it might be necessary to make a move or to look in a different city, state, country, or province. Definitely going outside of your current sort of sphere that you're looking in, because we see sometimes feedback that isn't optimal. So maybe there's just been a lot of rejections. Remember what I always say, rejection is a form of protection. It's not fun, but it is sometimes necessary to save us from stepping into a job that isn't going to be optimal. So the universe wants you to look bigger and explore different opportunities outside of where you normally would. It's time for you to get paid better as well as you're looking at these new opportunities. So really push the needle when it comes to negotiation. I think that by moving you could make more money, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Ultimately, I see at least one option coming across the plate, but it has to do again with possibly looking outside of your, it could even just be outside of your normal field. Some of you might be deciding to take your skill set and apply it in a different sort of capacity, and that definitely is being welcomed by this set of cards, as is the entrepreneurial energy. So if you don't see it, create it. And remember, with creation, it takes time. What I've been doing here, I've been doing almost a decade. It took me a long time to kind of figure out how I connected with Source, how I wanted to connect with you, what I'm interested in talking about. It did not happen overnight. And with anything that you decide to do, just keep showing up. That's the best advice for business. Is it's not going to be perfect when you start. Keep showing up And if you keep showing up, the universe starts showing up for you, and expansion opportunities happen. And for some of you, if you're not finding, like if you are going to distribute a product or create something like that, I would love for you to look at globalization of it. Like, how are you going to ship this to the world market? You really want to be thinking of that. Broadcasting, podcasting, distribution and delivery. That's all part of this. The only thing that I'm picking up on, I really would have loved to have had a king or a queen or an empress card. We did get the chariot, but for some of you, the offer that's coming through seems a little bit junior. And so that might be a reason that some of you want to look at starting something on your own, or look at moving to a different space on the globe so that you can get what you deserve. And this is a very creative card, by the way. So really looking at, we have any of the creatives out there, especially since we have art on this, that's coming through loud and clear. Just take care of yourselves and don't take the rejection to heart. There are certain things that just were not the right connection. That's why it happened. It has less to do with qualifications, more to do with the universe trying to get you on a different path, okay? For those of you that are retired, it's interesting because it feels like some of you really had to go an extra year or two longer than you wanted to. I see the earnings, I see the exhaustion, and I see the need to just take a moment and process things. And although I haven't been through like that retirement where I decide to just not do my work anymore, I did kind of get out of the traditional machinery of traditional jobs. So I worked 15 years in a corporate environment, studio environment, where I was part of big companies. And when I quit and decided to start my own business, it very much was like an early form of retirement, but like I didn't have the money saved up. So I have to keep working and I had to keep developing things because I was young when I did that. But I remember the first month, and this is why, actually the first 3 or 4 months, and this is why I want to tell it, this story for the retired folks, or for people that decide to quit and start a business. I remember feeling guilty when I heard the neighbors go to work. I remember doubting myself. Did I make the right decision? Am I going to fail? Is this going to work? And then one day I just thought, I couldn't have stayed a day longer. I was in that Ten of Swords energy. I had to move on. And I thought, all right, let's just move on. Who cares? And then I realized other people looked at me and thought, I wish I could do what you did. So I stopped feeling guilty and I started getting inspired, and I started trying, and to see what's out there. So when you step out of a job or a part of your life that was very much defining for many of you, then it is kind of like the world upside down and this lack of grounding here. Take it a step at a time. And I feel it in my solar plexus now. So focus on exercising, meditating, and just one day at a time exploring new things and having fun and remembering all the meetings that you had, all the days that you were sitting at work thinking, there has to be something more. There is, and it begins today. Before I move on to students, a couple of extra notes for those that are retired. It's a great time to explore the world or universe of options. This could be as easy as going to the library, a museum, or traveling. You don't have to travel on a plane to do that. It could simply be getting in the car or walking out and exploring the world. But there is something about some form of discovery and travel. So whatever fits your budget, fits your, how much your body is comfortable with travel, all of that. But getting out there is going to be a good thing. It's going to help you meet some new people as well. Remember that the next thing you do shouldn't feel like it's work. That's really important. You still need things to occupy your mind and your time, but it shouldn't feel like it's a job anymore. This is your chance to enjoy and get involved with things that are truly creative and peaceful, okay? For students, here's what I see. You're doing great. 9 of Wands tells me don't give up, keep doing what you're doing, but there may be a need for you to let go of 1 or 2 things on your schedule. The 10 of Swords is potential burnout. It's also reminding you not to let one rejection. Maybe you're applying for internships. Maybe some of you are just graduating and looking at colleges, whatever this is. If one person says no, there's something better waiting for you. This is also the reminder, much like the retired people, and I do remember this too. I remember getting out of grad school and thinking, this is what I graduated for, because the first couple of jobs were really just stressful and kind of like grunt work. And I thought this isn't what they told me it would be like. It took me maybe a year or 2 to get into a more normal job where I was more creative and respected. 2 years in fact, I had like a dream job kind of come through, and I was able to be at that for almost 4 years. But the first couple years were not glamorous. And so any change, any moment that you're going into something new, it's a little messy, it's a little different. So if you're just graduating or just starting school, same sort of thing, give yourself time to adjust, okay? And that's everything when it comes to wealth. Don't rush it, give yourself time, explore the possibilities, and remember to let down your shield occasionally and connect with people, like-minded individuals that you trust. I love all the peacock feathers on this too. It's about showing your true colors, not feeling like you have to hide or edit who you truly are. All right, let's go ahead now and look at love and relationships. Your oracle card on this one is a lily, and the lily is in reverse. And when I look at this, it's of course divine feminine energy, but it's also about blossoming. And for some of you, it's been difficult for you to open up. It's really nicely aligned with both the Hermit and the Protection Guardian here. So some of you have been holding back on being able to kind of like open up. And this is the moment to do that with the people that you love, with the friends that you care about. It's a moment to bloom, basically, and truly be your true self. Again, the peacock energy in this, it's almost one and the same here. Showing your true colors, allowing yourself to open up. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this from 3 perspectives. We're going to start off for those in a relationship, and then look at those that are seeking love or happily single. If you're in a relationship, of course, some of you are dealing with expansion of the family, and that can be something that changes the world on its heels. It kind of turns things upside down, as we see here. It could also be a source of arguing for some of you. So try to breathe and take it a step at a time, and really remember that there's love that started all of this sort of togetherness. And I think that's the main challenge right now, is to your family is what we see here. On the traditional 10 of Pentacles, we see an old man, we see a child, we see the younger couple, and then sometimes even more people. But the core unit is what matters most, you and your partner. If it has gotten kind of like bigger or more complicated, bring it back to that simple partnership. And if you can talk on a one-on-one basis, anything is possible. The biggest challenge this month could be at either end of this extreme. So when the 4 of Swords happens, someone shuts down and they don't do anything. The word retreat isn't just about going on a vacation, it's also about retreating into silence, which in a relationship is not a good thing. The other extreme is an argument. So I'm getting very different communication styles for some of you. Some of you want to argue, some of you just walk away. There could also be a decision to retreat to avoid an argument. The important thing here is to have a level-headed conversation if possible, and it may require assistance. It may be beyond your skills, and this is where something like couples therapy can help out. If the arguments already happen or the conversations already happen, and there's some, usually with the 10 of Swords, there's hurt feelings, someone's carrying a grudge, then it's important to deal with that. And when this happens, if someone pulls back, retreats or hides, what happens with the other person is eventually there's going to either be impatience, or in the silence they start to fill in the blanks. Well, they must be thinking this. It's better to talk, because silence just invites eventually things to kind of like wither and not grow the way they need to. So we need open lines of communication. If everything is open, if everything is good, there's a different read that I can give you here. I see that the most important thing is going to be family. Some of you are dealing, could be a loss, could be a challenge that you didn't expect, and you come closer together because of that. There's a very different read here. Some of you are going through a multitude of things. You're busy, work is stressful, you might have just moved, there might be an expansion, and there's also just this general stress that's going on. And so what you want to try to do is find a way to ground that and be together. So remember that you just have to be present, you don't have to fix, and you don't necessarily have to parent or advise, but the communication and the presence of being, that's going to be so key. Just saying, I can tell there's a lot going on. How can I help you? That's a great way to bring something into a nice neutral space. Or I can tell you're upset. Do you want to talk about it? What can I do to make things easier for you? If your partner barks at you and you're coming across with an open heart like that, that's a completely different thing, and it really indicates their inability, or maybe they're sort of frenzied state right now, and that's when you know that you've got to take a step back and you've tried everything you could. But I think being cool, being calm, being collected, and being kind, all of these things are going to help you. Not so much the cool, it's really just sort of like neutral is the better word there. Neutral, calm, collected, and kind. And that's going to help you out in this situation. Overall, can things be okay? Yeah, actually, if you can get through whatever challenges here, we have the universe expansion. We also just see that it's time to let one another have more control and not feel like there's going to have to be certain things that you compromise or concede on. So let one another have your swim lanes and try to kind of like respect that when and if possible. And that's my message for those in a relationship. There are some challenges, but they can be managed, and communication, as always, is the key. And this month it could be the block if you're not careful. If you're looking for love this month, some of you are looking for love on the heels of a breakup. Just give yourself time for the dust to settle. Can you find someone? Yes. A little bit younger, a little bit playful, a little bit stubborn. All of those things are coming through. There is this interesting chemistry and almost like past life energy that's coming through. I think the main challenge for you, Chariot reverse and Page of Wands reverse, listening and keeping an open mind. Both of you have this very bold energy, and sometimes that can just mean like great passion, but sometimes it can lead to arguments as well. So communication, even in new relationships, could be a little challenging. So take it a step at a time. And also, if you're looking for love this month, I see some of you might be feeling that pressure that I talked about from family to start a family or to get married. Try to put that to the side and just really sort out how you feel about this person that might be coming through. Remember, it's the two of you, and in the long run, most of us are going to outlive our parents and some of our older relatives, so you have to be happy with the life you created. As someone who has most of their family in spirit, I'm very aware of that now, and I wish more people could hear that when they're younger, because it helps you just make smarter decisions. Because if the people are gone that were pressuring you and you made decisions you didn't want to make, what is it for? So just listen to your heart. That's really important. Agency and decision and independence is coming through loud and clear. The partner may be from a different part of the world, different background, and that could be interesting if that's something that you're looking for as well. Okay, resetting this. For those of you that are happy and single, I think it's a perfect time to be happy and single. Basically, the energy is all around expansion or travel, and also you gaining your voice, or kind of like getting more comfortable with speaking up and taking control over aspects of your life. Lots of personal growth coming through for those that are single and happy. And not only that, I feel like some of you are finally feeling like you don't owe people an explanation. You don't have to compete with others. You're just sort of like in this place of empowerment. That's the main energy that I pick up on. Okay? And that's everything as I look at relationships, because we looked at those in a relationship, looking for love, or single and happy. So now let's move on to the Destiny card. And we have an encouragement to listen to your heart. Wasn't that a heart song? It was. Listen to your heart. So listen deeply here. It's not just about listening to your heart. It's about listening to angelic and also guide energy that's coming forth, because when we work with the spiritual realm, it is much more on an intuitive and an instinctive level. So coming through, once again, the Moon card, the Temperance card, the messages are being given to you in a very gentle way. There may be one that was clear, like a rejection, but the next step, the universe kind of like wants to whisper the options, but it wants you to decide. So it's in your court. Listen to what your heart has to say. Listen to what your higher self is doing up there, championing you and trying to direct you in the right direction. And it's going to be okay. You have a lot of love and support coming through. Don't second guess yourself. That's the main thing that we see with this card coming through in the reverse state. Let's go ahead now and take a deeper dive into sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what's coming through in May. Sun, rising, and moon. All right, let's begin here with sun sign messages first. So you received the Nine of Swords in sun sign, and this is basically a reminder from the universe to take a step back and get that bird's eye view, because what was coming through in the crowning position, the Ten of Swords, could basically just be the fear of failure and sometimes the sort of self-defeating thoughts that we all play in our minds from time to time. And this is saying, don't make something bigger than it needs to be. Allow yourself to put this thought into the universe. What if it's better than I thought? What if I land on my feet? What if I'm able to go bigger, better, and brighter than I ever anticipated possible? Set yourself up for success. This is another card associated with sleep. For some of you, maybe there's just been some nightmares or some difficulty in falling or staying asleep. Obviously, when this happens, you want to work with your doctor as well, because it's not just stress. Sometimes there can be chemical or biological things going on. Whatever's going on here, though, the main thing is breathe, take a step back, and this too shall pass. It will be okay. Stress management is the main takeaway here. And if you can learn to manage and move beyond the stressful thought or the restricting thought, then you're going to be okay. Because with the World and the Chariot card in the near future and outcome, this month is really setting you up for success and for that energy that we saw here of expansion and conducting. But in order to sort of be the conductor and the organizer, sometimes you have to just deal with the mess or the beginning phases, which sometimes can put you into that sort of self-doubt. So try to move past that, and some good stuff awaits you. Let's move on to rising and ascendant messages. Yay, we finally got a card of really good leadership here with the Empress. I said I was looking for Emperor or Empress or King or Queen energy, and we got it. So this is especially good in the rising area because this touches the area of work and finance and how people view you. So they see you as that boss energy. Now, the reversal of this card is a reminder not to feel like you have to overcompensate. Just be at ease with yourself. Some of the best leaders and bosses don't have to say they're a boss, they just show it. And so that's the main message coming through for those of you trying to find a way to show it. We also have, yet again, pregnancy and fertility coming through. And with the card in reverse, it's saying there might be a delay, but it's an eventuality with this because most of the other cards were pretty good. I think stress release and relief is going to be really important for many of you. And in general, this is a call to reclaim power. So for those of you that just want to look at creative control, looking at other aspects of your life, financial control, also making sure that you have an even seat at the table in a relationship, whatever. This is your boss energy coming through. If you have advice to give to others, let them come to you. They may not be ready to hear it just yet. As we take a look at the moon sign, we have the King of Wands coming through. This is a reminder for many of you that, just like I said, it could be stepping into a leadership role for the first time. It could also be an opportunity for you to push back on naysayers. This is a very bossy card. There is sometimes a time and a place for that kind of energy. So if you know what you want, don't let people push you into something that you don't kind of agree with. And in a leadership position, this could be about a line in the sand. Say, I'm willing to compromise here and here, but this is where I draw the line. So I don't mind a bossy card from time to time. The only thing that's important here is to stay slightly open to different ways of doing things, because you might be able to do it faster, more efficiently, possibly quicker. And part of this involves opening yourself up to a different path. And just generally speaking, this is back into that energy of a month of firsts. So it's a chance for you to experience something from a different perspective and open your mind. But this is the penultimate boss card. I would say it's second to the Emperor. So it means that if you've never kind of spoken up or tried to do something, or if you just feel a little bit of discomfort in taking the reins, you're going to be just fine with this, all right? And that is everything for that part of the reading. We have one more card. This is your final question. If there's anything that I haven't answered yet, this is your moment to inquire. So send that message in meditation to the universe. Let's see what Spirit has to say. We have the Star card. You couldn't ask for a better one as a response. It is reversed, but it still is an affirmative. So if you asked me a yes or a no question, it's a yes, ... But there's something here in the delivery that sometimes people are if you don't believe in yourself when you put yourself out there and you're communicating or trying to deliver something, it just is a little bit off-putting. People are trying to look at what they see with what they're feeling. So I feel like there's a little bit of work that you can do on self-confidence and delivery. Just generally speaking, it'll help all aspects of your life. We had that peacock card that came through too, and I mentioned with that, it's about showing your true colors. The star in the upright position is basically unafraid, unfiltered, in the best way. It's basically just showing who you are and you're comfortable in your skin. And that's kind of why they played around here with the mermaid, because she can also be in two different elements here, in water and air. So this is your chance to really kind of allow yourself to go between different places that you normally wouldn't, creatively, romantically, experience-wise, and just know that it's going to be okay. So accept and love yourself and allow others to do the same. That brings this video to a close. If you enjoyed it, please do me a favor, like and subscribe. It's a great way to show support. It also helps the channel grow by introducing new people to it, so thank you in advance. You can also follow me across social media. It's always my first and last name on all major platforms, so at Nicholas Ashbaugh. And if you ever have any questions, you can always go to my website. All the official links are there. As a quick sort of note of safety, just be knowledgeable about this. I don't send any direct messages, nor will I ask for products, services, or money on a direct message. So if somebody is chatting you up, it's not me. Just block and report them. There's also a form on my website if you need to use it. If you want to show support, you can do it officially right here on YouTube through super stickers, super chat, and super thanks, also memberships. Just a quick thank you to anybody who does give back. I use that for things like my podcast, which come completely from my own sort of funds. So from my heart to yours, thank you so much. Thanks again for allowing me to facilitate all of these messages and for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. Wishing you all the best.